everyone, my name is Jordan, and today I'm going to be asking some of my guy friends some questions about Euphoria. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
My name's Will. I'm from Texas, and I watched 2 episodes of Euphoria and was traumatized.
I'm Josh, and I have watched all the episodes, and I am obsessed with the show.
Hi guys, I'm Max. I started watching the show a couple months ago, but I just finished it and I love it.
Okay, perfect. So that is pretty much y'all's first impressions of the show. Sounds like some of you like it, some of you don't like it all that much. First question for Will, why would you consider watching more of Euphoria?
Potentially. Like, if you want me to watch it with you, I'll watch it.
Okay.
But on my own, probably not. It's just not really my vibe.
Okay, next question for Josh. Who's better, Cassie or Maddie?
Oh God. I don't know. Like this is gonna be terrible to say, but I like Cassie.
Okay, why?
I don't know. Like, yeah, she's kind of a shitty person at times, but like, I mean, she's a relatable character. Like she's gone through a lot, and I think a lot of people underplay her trauma, especially with the abortion and how that affects her, like going forward in the seasons.
Yeah, I feel like that's like part of the show that I always forget about. So, okay, Maxwell, do you think Nate is gay?
Not fully gay, but he's definitely not straight.
Okay, what makes you say that?
Because no one straight would have a lot of explicit photos on their phones. And there has been some scenes where it indicates that he might not be completely straight since he talked to Maddie about it when she confronted him.
Okay. Will, how do you feel about all the nudity in the show?
I think it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like, similar to like Game of Thrones, it's a little bit of a shock factor, but when used correctly, it can make it a really good show. Personally, like, not like a huge fan, but like I don't really have an issue with it.
Okay, Josh and Maxwell, how do you feel about the nudity in the show?
Actually, I really don't have that much of a problem with it. Like, I don't know. I think it's cool that, well, not cool, but what's the word? I think it's definitely interesting that they're taking also more male nudity, where in the past it's almost been always female nudity. Like Game of Thrones had one of the first male nudity scenes. Like, they're really like kind of pushing the grounds of like, I feel like for so long in so many shows they like have almost every show nowadays has like female nudity all over it. So it's like, I like how they flipped it and made it like in your face, and I think that was the point of like showing more male nudity to kind of show like what it's actually like, give like men kind of like a taste of what it's like.
Yeah.
I feel like for nudity in this particular show, it's very applicable since a lot of the topics they tackle, such as like sexuality, like sexual abuse, just like more adult topics that if you just have instances like this without nudity, it wouldn't make sense. And they're not using it in a way that's like just for sake of nudity. So I think it's really effective.
No, I totally agree. I definitely think like the scenes where Nate is like scrolling on his phone and you see all of the explicit pictures. I think that's like really not something I've seen, and I know, like, I was wondering because I feel like a lot of guys wouldn't like that as much. So yeah. Okay. Do you guys see any similarities between the show and like the culture in Boulder?
I think it's not specific to Boulder, but I feel like as the years go by, college campuses and young adult like lives get more and more peer pressured and more in that culture of hookup. Like, hookup culture was not a thing like 20 years ago, and now it's more just like very, very normalized, and so it's like very coincidental with the show.
I mean, I personally think like this show could have easily taken place in Boulder. It would have been accurate. Like, I don't know. I feel like especially it's later in this first season and like the second season, definitely is like a lot of stuff that happens here in Boulder, like on a Friday night, I definitely think if they I see their point of doing it in high school, but I think it would have been more accurate to put it in like a college.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, all three of you are in the same fraternity. So I guess in my head, I think fraternity culture as well as like bar culture is kind of where I see the biggest influence, just because I know there's a lot of Euphoria parties and girls like dressing more Euphoria-esque, I guess. So, yes. Okay. How does all the cheating in the show make you feel? Like relationship cheating?
I don't know. I think it's I don't know. I don't think it necessarily makes me uncomfortable. I think it kind of just goes to show the characters, like, once again, that they are in high school, and when you're in high school, you're not very like mature and stable. You're like, a lot of times people in high school just get in relationships, just be in a relationship to say they're in one. So I think they're definitely pretty spot on with like how a lot of people in high school date and then they'll do stuff like that, especially cheating. It's not necessarily because they're bad people, it's just because they're immature and don't realize like they shouldn't have gotten in the relationship in the first place.
Okay.
Yeah, on my side, I don't really like all the cheating stuff. I don't know if I've watched enough of Euphoria to fully know, but I know on like the cheating side and the drug side as well, it's like, you know, it shows how bad it is and it shows how much it sucks, but it also glamorizes it a little bit, and I just don't like that. Don't like the way that kind of impacts people and the way it makes people think.
See, I think it's the opposite. I think it's nice that they don't shy away from how bad relationships are in general, because like really all the people on the show, all their characters are not ready for a relationship, and they force themselves into one anyway, so it's on their part. And as for the cheating, it does happen in real life, and so you just have to find the right person. It's like a case-by-case basis. It's not just like everyone cheats, but in this case of the show, pretty much everyone is not a very nice person when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
And, you know, more than a third of marriages end in divorce, so it's normalized to cheat, so it's not that crazy to think about it.
Yeah. My next question is actually kind of related to what you said, Will. Just like, how do you think, do you think Euphoria has an accurate portrayal of drug use?
I think so. I think it really does. I think like watching the whole show through, at the first half it kind of does seem like it's glamorizing it, but then once you get into later season 1, especially season 2 with like the Jolly Rancher scene, it really shows you like just like how terrible drug addiction can be, and like but how it can seem like in the moment how it's fun and how vibrant and colorful like drugs can be and make you feel. But then I like how it spins it on its table and it shows like Rue overdosing or like her in the bathroom like dying. Like I think it's a pretty accurate representation of what addiction does to a person and what drugs can do to a person. I think it really shows like, also I really like how it once again tackles into that mental health of like a lot of the characters that use drugs and alcohol in the show are people that are really struggling with mental health but aren't getting the help they need, like therapy or like going to the hospital, so they're turning to drugs and sex. So I think it's pretty accurate representation of what that's like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially with all like the different kinds of like laced drugs going on around in Boulder, I definitely think that's prevalent. And my last question for all three of you, do you think that the show perpetuates toxic masculinity?
Again, I don't think I've like seen enough of the show, but like sort of like what I was saying about the drugs and the cheating and everything, I think that just exposure to all of that like definitely kind of normalizes stuff like that. So the football player guy, Nate who might be gay, like he just seems to be very toxic and just like not a good person, but like he's still the popular guy, like he's still living a fun life, it seems. So I feel like it normalizes it in that sense, and I don't really like that.
I think at first it kind of did show like, I think it perpetuated a lot of toxic masculinity, but I think the second season really flips on its table, especially with like the play and that whole scene with Nate and all them. I think that really kind of broke down the barrier, but I think for a long time it was just kind of like Nate was literally just like getting away with everything, and like he had no consequences for his actions. But whereas season 2, it definitely dives more, and you know, it's things start catching up, especially with like his father Cal, him, like things. I think it does catch up, and I think now it's a lot better. But I think in the first season it was a lot worse.
I agree. There was a lot in the first season, but I think it's necessary because they're also tackling that topic specifically, and it's just how even today our social hierarchies work. Even though we try not to, it's still a thing, and it's something we're trying to change.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for helping me out with my project. I really appreciate it.